My mom passed away when I was 13 years old. Unexpectedly so. She wasn't sick. There was nothing wrong really with her that I knew at the time. I was too young anyway to understand a lot of things. And growing up in family like mine, where people didn't really talk about specific things or certain topics, I knew she had struggles. My mother was an open person. She spoke to me like I was a friend, like there's certain things that she shared with me and she was honest about. I also think because she saw that I was growing up and I was becoming a young adult, she knew that I had to learn from her. Unfortunately, we didn't have so much time to actually get into that. And she passed on when I was 13 years old. I struggled with the pain of losing my mom for many, many years. I missed her every day of my life. I wished that she was here. I wished that she was there to support me in the toughest times of my life. I wish she was there to talk to me, guide me, support me, and comfort me when I needed comfort, when I needed a shoulder to cry on. During the toughest times and the toughest places of my life, I really did wish that she was there. And I'd say for a good 15 years, 16 years, maybe 20, 15 to 20 years before I became spiritual, I used to think about her all the time. I'd cry myself to sleep. While I was married to my ex husband, I used to cry about my mom. I used to miss her so much. I'm like, why is life so uncomfortable? Why does it feel the way it does? Why am I going through troubles? Why am I going through troubles in my marriage? Why is this guy doing this? Why is he not doing that? Some days I wanted to leave my marriage. I wanted to leave so many times before I left my marriage. But I had nowhere else to go. Like, when you're stuck in a loop in a situation where you ask yourself, if I leave, where to go? I have no mother, I have no father. My grandma is old. She can't really help as much. I have a home, yes. But I've got children that need to go to school. And where I'm from, there aren't so many good schools. I want my kids to have a full experience of you going to a proper school. And I can't give them that life if I move back home to the bundus, to the villages with them. They are used to the city life. Their father is from the city. So I struggled with leaving my marriage for many years. I think for about 5 years. I kept on wanting to leave. I kept on trying to leave, but I didn't want to because I was scared of the unknown. I was scared of the what ifs. What if I leave? Where would I go? And then I would remember that if I had a mother, if I had a proper supporting system, if I had a family like a mom and a dad, a home to call my own, not a family that I share with my other family members, but my home, my mother and my father, or either of my parents having their own place to call home, a stable that's mine. Even if I do have siblings, but it's my mother and my father's house. Struggled with not knowing what to do. And I missed it dearly. I cried myself to sleep and I would go through the pain and come back, and go through the pain again and come back until I finally let go without a plan, without knowing what to do. And going into my spiritual journey, that helped a lot in healing. in me finding healing, in me understanding my pain, why I kept on feeling the way I felt for many years. And finally, at this point, I've healed so much because I can have a relationship with my mom. I do have a relationship with my mom spiritually. I do, I can, and I do communicate with my mom regularly. I do see her in my dreams regularly. And that has healed me a lot because I got to learn where the pain was coming from. I got to understand why the pain keeps looping. I got to understand why I didn't heal fully because my mother and the story ended abruptly without an explanation because she wasn't sick. She just collapsed and that was it. No sickness, no sign of anything. I wasn't there when it happened. So those are some of the things that really hurt. And by the time I healed and I started having a relationship with her spiritually, that helped me heal a lot, by a lot. And all those unfinished business, unfinished questions or unanswered questions, if I may, were answered. I then started understanding my mother. I started understanding her more. I started understanding her struggles even more. I started understanding where she was, what happened to her, where she struggled, what happened. I started understanding that part of it was the fact that she was a spiritual person. She was struggling with her spirituality. She was struggling with relationships. She was struggling with finding grounding in her life. She was struggling with getting a job, getting rebuilding her career. She was struggling with finding out who she was. She had two kids. She was unemployed. Has never been employed in her life. She was there, but she was not there. She was emotionally distant. There was so many things that happened in my upbringing. And one person that I missed a lot was my mother because I grew up with my dad. So I always had a daddy wound, a father wound because I grew up with my dad. My dad was there all the time, but was not there. My mother wasn't there because she was always at school. By the time I grew up and I was 5 years old, my mother was in tertiary and she was there since I was a little girl. So I really never got a chance to actually spend time with her. I really didn't understand much about my mom until now that I became spiritual. I never knew her that well. I saw her on weekends, we spent time on weekends, we'd travel here and there, but there's just so much that I was missing, and hence why there were so many questions and unanswered questions for me. And finally, I can say I'm at a point where I've healed that part of myself. I now have accepted my fate. I've now accepted that I'm a mother now. And my kids are really looking up to me. My kids are depending on me to show up for them. Even though it doesn't look pretty, even though it looks like I've distanced myself, it looks like I've abandoned them because I had to choose myself. Now they live with their father full time. I am single and alone. Sometimes it even feels painful not living with my kids. It feels like I'm lost. It feels like I've got no purpose anymore. It feels like I've abandoned myself. I've abandoned my kids. I should have stayed. I should have worked it out for them. Because most times that's what people do. We work it out for the kids. Not because we love each other, not because we are compatible, not because the relationship is sustainable, but because we are doing it for the kids. So, but I am healed. I'm in a good place. Would I go back to my marriage? Absolutely not. Would I try again? Oh no. What I found on the other side is priceless. What I've discovered cannot be undiscovered. The promised land is far much better, it's far much more promising than where I come from. So I love you all. I'll see you on the next episode. Love and light.